Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and things just keep getting stranger with Stranger Things. Even though the show has actually come to an end, it's all over, it's done, it's never coming back. We got some weird things happening where members of the fan base have convinced themselves, they've absolutely convinced themselves because they've hated the final so much that surely a secret ending must actually exist. And this thing even has a name. There's people all over TikTok and everything doing videos is convinced that Stranger Things did not actually end the way it ended and that there's a actual secret episode. In one woman's case, whose video I have broken up into two pieces because she rants on for like almost 4 minutes and she just like is a proper loon. But she's convinced that it ain't even just one episode. But let's start looking at the article talking about it, because this is insane. That they actually hate the ending so much, and it's clear that they hate it so much, that they are now making up and convincing themselves surely that's not how it ends and that there's another episode to come. So it says, if you ever wanted a case study in audience denial, look no further than the growing belief among some Stranger Things fans that the series didn't actually end and there's a new secret ending coming. Because surely the creators couldn't have meant that to be the real final. In the aftermath of a deeply divisive final episode, a segment of the fandom has latched onto what's being called the conformity gate theory, an increasingly elaborate claim that the final moments of the show were merely an illusion and that a secret true ending episode is about to drop any day now. And again, for anyone that's going to go, there's no way this is real. Here's the first small part of this woman who is telling you why she believes there's another episode. Look at this nutball.
If you're in this category, we watched this finale and we just kept saying this doesn't make sense. And that is because the Duffer Brothers are completely meticulous, and that's how they gained us as a fan base. What we watched looked like seasons. Same actors, long run times, media promotion, as well as release dates. And I'll tell you, you probably think I'm crazy. If you go onto Netflix and you look at season 5, it's going to say S5 : and it's going to say E1, episode 1. And that's an analoging issue. That actually is a known problem with Netflix. It's simply just the only way that Netflix can take that content and put that out there.
Okay, so there's the first part. Now, we do have another part with her. But as you can see, she's trying to say, well, because Netflix structured it in the vein of season 5, episode 1, and they have colons and stuff like that. Everyone does that. Every single show does that. But she's trying to convince you, and if you watch her whole thing, she goes into all this legal spill, saying that they actually broke the law because they didn't actually register a season 5 and stuff like this, and they did. But it's just insane. But according to the theory, the extended epilogue seen in the final episode wasn't real at all, but rather a deception orchestrated by Vecna, who is supposedly still alive and manipulating events from the shadows. The idea has spread rapidly across social media platforms like TikTok, where speculation thrives best when evidence is optional. And that is one of the things. None of these people are actually showing you any evidence. They're simply telling you, like that woman goes on and on and on about, oh, if you look at this structure and this and that, and never puts it up on the screen herself. It's like, well, why don't you show us what you're talking about? She can't, because it doesn't exist. So the supposed clues range from background character hand positions at Hawkins High's graduation to shorter hairstyles worn by Nancy, Mike, and Karen. Fans have also pointed out the appearance of the What's It board game, a reference to Henry Creel's Alias, along with the blank yellow poster and the final shot of Dungeons and Dragons books that allegedly spell out X-A lie. So, why and how do we get to this point? Well, let's see what that crazy bitch has to say about all of this with this little nugget.
Then I have one final question for you to think about. Why did all of the other seasons take 6 months to film and this one took a year? They're not going to release extra minutes. They're releasing a whole other official season 5.
So she doesn't think there's one episode coming. She thinks there's actually a season 5 again coming. A whole season. Why? Because in her full video, okay, where she's breaking down everything, what she rambles on about when she's saying, oh, you know, the structure of they have S5:1E and all this stuff, which is season 5 episode 1, she goes on and on to say basically the season 5 we just watched is nothing more than a trailer. That's what she claims, is it's a trailer. And the part of it that I love is the fact that she says that, because clearly she's saying we hated it by saying we all said this doesn't make sense to end it that way. And then she goes on to say it didn't end that way. It was so stupid of an ending because the Duffer Brothers are so super geniuses that they left us reeling so they could drop this full season. It's not happening. It was never going to happen. That was season 5. That's how they ended the show. So it's saying some versions of the theory even claim the absence of certain characters from the epilogue proves it was fake, arguing Vecna doesn't know they exist. Others insist a hidden release date has already been cracked. January 7th, 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here now on January 8th. Where was the episode? I checked my Netflix. Did you check yours? There was no episode. Yeah, really, there's no new episode. Do you know why? Because these people are lunatics. Get off TikTok, get off the internet and social media, and go out into the real world. Breathe in some fresh air, and get over the fact that, yeah, the last season that you all tried to say was fantastic and the best thing ever until you saw how it ended is exactly what you got. A giant, steaming pile of monkey crap. That's what the season was. That's how the show ended. And you're gonna just have to live with that. That they didn't want to give you the answers. They didn't want to wrap up some things. They didn't want to close the book on some things. They wanted you to come up with ideas. Which, by the way, is lazy writing. But the fact that they have gone so far to convince themselves that there's not just a secret episode coming, that for that crazy bitch, there's an entire season coming. Wow. What have the Duffer Brothers done here? Because Game of Thrones, like, that was a disaster. That ended like, whoa, it was nobody's business how badly that thing dropped the ball at the end. This didn't happen with that. Nobody was running onto TikTok or anywhere and going, hey, don't worry, there's actually a season 9 coming out. No. We knew that they dropped the ball, and we all knew, wow, what a bloody mistake that season was and all the rest. Same thing here. Duffer Brothers, they're not doing more Stranger Things as in an actual season 5, because we've just had the real season 5, the only season 5, and that is how the show ended. Unfortunately, you're gonna just have to deal with it and move on. So, what do you guys think of this absolute lunacy? Do let me know, because it is weird and crazy. But that's TikTok, and that's why I'm not in TikTok and never will be. So, with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers. Catch you in the next one.